Welcome to the journey. I am Reverend Bobby, and today I have with me Miss Debra Cannon Jones. She the queen, but I ain't gonna bust her out. How you doing today, Debra?
I'm great. I'm doing great.
You doing
And
great.
yourself?
That's the way to do. I'm great, and while Debra and I are doing great, you do great too. And subscribe to the Gospel of Robert, capital GOSPELOF, capital ROBERT, no spaces. And you might have to put the at sign in front to get to the page. So, Debra, tell the people and me a little bit about you.
Well, I'm a retired federal employee. I'm a mother of two sons. I presently attend Christ Universal Church, and I'm in the tech. I'm learning about technology. I'm learned how to take a computer apart and put it together, which I need to brush up on a little more. But so far, I'm just enjoying this journey, and I'm enjoying traveling and helping others, looking for ways to keep moving and keep contributing to the good of society and my fellow man.
Excellent, excellent. So, what brought you to become interested in taking computers apart and putting them back together? That's what I did for IBM later on in my IBM career. First, I fixed typewriters downtown in the daytime. But what interested you in that?
Actually, I saw, you know how you get flyers out of different places, and I decided to take up a basic computer class, which I didn't know much about after I retired. You know, they only show you certain systems when you work within certain entities, government entities. Anyway, make a long story short, I ended up taking a computer class, and I entered the program. One of my instructors said, "Well, why don't you get in this program where we have a thing where they have like it's like a 6 week program,
Mhm.
and you find out a lot of things about computers. But anyway, at the end, you have to come up with a presentation, and we ended up with the group I was in winning, and I won a scholarship with Google. So one of the prizes with that was that I get to take up classes free with Google. I think it's up until December of 25. And I ended up taking the IT program. And one of the aspects of it was that we had to go through the components of the computer, break it down, and then build a virtual computer. So that's how I actually got started with that.
Now, what's so cool about that and life is you did that after you had completed, your work life and stuff, and still wanted something else to do. Still had that desire to learn more. What
Yes.
pushes you forward? What drives you on to new and different things, Deb?
Well, for me, I don't know about anybody, but I feel like there's just so much more that I have left to explore and to contribute and to learn. I'm more open to learning now than I was when I was younger.
Really?
It's just so much in the world to know.
Well, you said you like to travel too. And traveling is a great way to get to know stuff. Recently, after my daughter, my youngest, was running from the fires in LA, right? She was all right, but there was fires on both sides of her, right? So
Okay.
About 5 days later, after I knew she was okay, she had this picture of a plane, that she was getting on going somewhere. So I said, "Where you going?" And I ain't heard nothing from her for about 10 hours. One guy text back, she talking about Portugal. She done cut out to go see a whole new thing and travel around and stuff. And 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 it's a really good way to learn though about different type of things, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you meet so many different people, and you get to see just it's just about the simple things in life for me, and that can be found everywhere, all over the world. So yes, you do. You really learn. I do anyway.
Yeah, and one of the simple things I like is the different kind of food because I
Oh
like I
yeah.
like to eat. Um, how does that look? I guess it vibrates with you pretty good. You go like, oh my God, tell me something, girl.
Well, yeah, I do because you have so many. I'm trying to give up meat a little bit, trying to go vegan and vegetarian a little bit. Not quite there, not perfect. And I like to try these different vegetables and fruits that they have from different places and herbs. You just get to experience and see so much of that from different places. And the food is fantastic.
Yeah,
It's good, very good.
yeah. So when you did have a day job with the federal government, what was you doing?
Well, I actually ended up in finance at the Postal Service, but when I came in, I was actually a law clerk. Went from a law clerk with Social Security to a supervisor in finances in the post office.
Now that must have been some journey. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh man, when
Oh, girl, give it up, give it up. I love these wonderful journeys.
when I left, when I started at Social Security, I came in out of high school. Back then they would go and they would take people out of high school. They went to high school and colleges, different stuff, and they recruited the workforce. So
Right.
that's how a lot of people got into the service. But anyway, when I first went in, I went in as a file clerk, but I began to work my way up into legal clerk at the Office of Hearing and Appeals, where they do the hearings for the disability,
Hmm.
where they go before the law judges and they make the decisions. And oh, that was fascinating because I always like to work with people. And following a girlfriend of mine, let's go over to the post office. They doing this, blase, blase. Anyway, make a long story short, I end up transferring over there on the workroom floor. Could not take that because I had to raise two sons, and ended up going to customer service, working in the window section with the money and all. That was it for me. Finance, that was my thing. Yeah. So yeah, that's part of how I ended up in there, got that journey. So
Well,
it was something
it's pardon me, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I met a lot of nice people, a lot of people along the way.
Now one of the things that always has been a building block for my life is the people and the relationships that you build with them. How important has that been in your life?
Very, because a lot of times the people that you work with, we were like family. We didn't know at that time. We still had our this one and that one and this and that and the little struggles, but we were always there. If one needed something, they could show the other one how to get it or where to go get it, or they were there. We were like a family. We looked out for each other, so it was very important. And I do miss that a lot now because a lot of them A lot of people have passed on, and a lot of people, I'm not in contact with. But oh, that was a very important part for me.
Yeah, the relationships are important, and the squabbles and things. Like you said, we was family, and that goes
Yeah,
on in
yeah.
families, and most of the time people get over it, and you know how did those things work when people did squabble? Was they usually open to say, "Oh, forget it," or they had to pout for a minute, or just a mixture depending on who it is?
Well, yeah, because first of all, when I was in the workforce, you had too many other things going on with your house, trying to raise a house, or at least the females. Men's is a little different because the women that I was with were running the households. So, you might have been mad for a minute, or you might have had a squabble for a minute. But at some point, you might have needed something from one of them that was going to help you get past the problem that you had at home, or something that was going on. So it was just too many other things to stay focused on that one piece of craziness
Well,
at
well
that
you
moment.
you said early on that it's really the simple things. And what are some of those simple things? Because people could get caught up in money and bling. Not so much when we came through, but what were some of those simple things that just gave you some satisfaction and fulfillment when you was a part of it happening?
I think seeing like okay, I'll just say like when somebody got a promotion, we would celebrate, and that person most of the time. Now this was back in the day when I started in there. We were always looking out for each other, trying the next one was trying to help the other one get to the level that they were. They were always kind of reaching back for each other to pull each other up, you know. And then they would have times like we would celebrate certain events, baby showers, somebody going away. Every time somebody left, oh, it was a big to do. And they cared. They shared and they cared. And they kept in contact with each other and looked out. As I say, back then in the agency I was in, if you needed to know how to get a certain job, the one that had made it to that next level, oh, here, okay, I'm going to look out, I'm going to show you how to fill out this application, do this, that, and the other, so and so. And sometimes that we would just meet for lunch and just talk, talk out what was going on with each other. It was nice. It really was nice.
Yeah, it was kind of that dynamic when I was working. I worked at IBM, and we was family, and we as boys, because when I used to get stuck, I worked fixing stuff, like I said earlier.
Right.
And when I had
Hmm.
a problem, man, I needed to call one of my boys. They come. I was up on North Michigan Avenue. I had a boy. He was named Mark Zufan. He was the coolest dude. He was all the way over at the Sears Tower and used to walk up to lend me a hand. But I think it was kind of goes back to basic stuff, how we was raised and that kind of stuff. What you think about that?
Yeah, it was times were different. The families looked out. We were just coming out of something, I think. And we still had that look out for each other thing. Because I was telling someone, I can remember a time when you would go out of town and we would go somewhere, and the first thing you would do is look for where's the blacks at? Where, and I don't mean the just throw that out there, but I'm just saying.
No. I
And
know what
that
you mean.
and we would show each other and tell each other, well, you can find this here, you could do this here, that. You could trust each other. We could
Yeah.
trust each other. But it got to the point where you went out of town, you like, no, I don't want to go where the brothers and sisters at right now. Let me find some other type of people that can give me direction. So I saw that whole dynamic change.
So what
And
you think? What you think happened?
I think we forgot who we are. We lost who we are in the process of trying to become better as someone else was better. Not necessarily better for us because they have never forgotten who we are. We forgot who we are. And I think we kind of just got lost. We don't value ourselves like we use each other like we used
And one thing about me is I remember who they are too. I don't need a whole lot of the new stuff. I have 400 years of
to.
empirical
Yes,
data to keep me
yes,
understanding that, I used to tell people not one law or institution has been, put in place for our well being.
yeah,
It just isn't.
yeah.
And we be making it. And what do you think now that we done flipped the thing gives us that gumption to hold on and keep going? Because I've had this conversation a lot lately because it was a couple of my friends, they was having issues at day
Okay.
3 with anxieties. I'm like, look, we got a whole lot of days to go. And what do you think give us the ability to hold on like we do? Queen Deborah.
Uh, I think faith, and whether or not we want to accept it, because I hear a lot of people, a lot of these young ones come out of all the old school and elders and this, that, and other. But that wisdom is being passed down because they went through some things that we did not experience. But the lessons were passed down to some of us, and some of us picked those up and understood. And it's the knowledge and the understanding. Because one thing about it, certain things we cannot change, but certain things we can change, and that's the way we think.
Now, how has it hit you since you've become one of the elders and people with wisdom that everybody come to for guidance? How that sit with you?
Uh, Constant prayer, constant meditation, because I think everybody has fears, but it's knowing how to quiet them and move them out of the way, because as I say, I have to have that constant faith. And it's a daily thing where I have to constantly stay in prayer at every turn. Because you don't know what's coming around the corner, but I know I got somebody bigger and better within me that knows how to handle things that I don't. So I'm working with it. I work with it. I'm learning compassion with people, but I'm also learning how to be discerning with people, you know, not to necessarily pick up others' uh, fear. Because I have enough of my own, you know.
Well, but see, they're what was they're I'm looking for a word, but they're real. The fears are real to you until they disseminate themselves, and that's why I heard you say, but I'm working with it and working with it because that's what we have to do is work with pretty much ourselves
Yes.
and look at these things and that and how has it helped being in a spiritual community such as you're in with Christ Universal Temple and the truth that you learn? How's that played a part in your life?
Oh, it, when I was first introduced, I'm going to get to that, but I just want to let you know when I first was introduced to that, I came from a Baptist church, and
Yeah.
my grandfather was a minister. And I had a lot of I had a lot of beliefs that were taught to me under that way. But when I went to Christ Universal, a lot of things that have been in the back of my mind for years start to make sense to me. And I just, oh wow, it's like a revelation. I would feel so comfortable with the teachings and the understanding, and I begin to see things in a different way, and I began to let go of things that were of no longer use to me, which I am still doing. So it has greatly worked for me. It's a blessing to me.
And letting go is some of the hardest um, stuff that we do. And it's not so much that we cherish the stuff, but we, good and not so good, we continue to play the stuff, like over in our minds, which was one of the biggest things for me. And what have you found as a practice for yourself to, shut down them things as they start to play, even though intellectually we know it ain't true, but it still get to us once in a while.
My affirmations and my meditation, because I went through Lent for the first time. I practiced Lent with Reverend Cherie last year,
Mhm.
and when my what I did for Lent was I was going to practice my m- prayer and meditation in the morning and in the evening, you know, for 40 days because I had not been doing that, you know. And the results, oh my God, it has just been so refreshing to get up at 5 in the morning and go into that meditation and affirmation and then just be still and listen.
So was it
So
was it easier for you to discipline yourself in the practice after you kind of got into it and into the groove and started getting kind of like results, and then it became easier and easier for you to do?
yeah, because it was always trial and error. Because remember, I'm under the Baptist belief. I had a Baptist grandfather, so I was always under the belief. Hold
Go on.
on. I was always uh, I was always under the those Baptist beliefs, and I had a lot of things that I was trying to get out, like, well, wait a minute, this is supposed to be this way, that's that way. But metaphysics is telling me, no, you got to pay attention to how you think and what you thinking. But then, you got to peel back them layers to figure out what's exactly going on within you, you know. And it's a journey. It is a journey.
That's why
Yeah.
I call this the journey, as we share our journeys of learning that, because my thing is Baptist too. I mean, all the ministers in my
Mhm.
family. I'm talking about to way back there when my great grandfather got a boxcar in Chattanooga and somehow got it to Atlanta, and that's what he held church in back in the day. But it's like you know the metaphysics just kind of opened everything up to a new world of understanding for me. Those things that we was just told to. Well, you gotta believe it because God says so in the book, but I have no real understanding to it. But as I was around when Johnny was still around, and as she would break it down, it just made so much more sense and vibrated so much more real to me. And
Yes.
did you find that vibration of something that fulfilled you helped launch you on your way to all these wonderful things that you're doing with yourself today?
Yeah. Yeah, I did because, and I still, I've always had this feeling since I was a kid that it's something that I'm meant to do. It's just that feeling that's there. And as I say, my mind is like a sponge now. I pick up on so much more. I don't tell a lot of people because everybody's not happy to hear that your mind is picking up all of this. And yeah, yeah, I do. I really like it because it's just a lot to learn. It's
Yeah,
this is a big world.
it is. And the thing too that I had to come to grips was is this is Debra's stuff, the direct connect with spirit and Debra. And as long as Debra stays straight and doing what she's supposed to be doing, I think that's what opens everything up because it comes like a yellow brick road, and all you got to do is be obedient and pay attention. It comes kind of easy. Does it come a little bit easier now? Not so many walls that you run into?
Oh yeah, yeah. The more I practice and I open my mind and I learn and not so resistant, yeah, it does. Yes, it does. It gets better. It gets better and easier to pick it up. I'm not saying that it's gonna always be a quick, fast thing because sometimes some lessons are meant to be what they are. But yeah, I do find it getting a little, getting myself more confident and even trusting the process. Because if you're not confident in yourself, sometimes you can think what you wanna, but you gotta have that confidence and belief in yourself too.
Yeah, that's where it all ultimately, comes back to is our belief in ourselves and our paying attention to these principles as they work and do their thing in our lives. And for the people real quick to just do better in life and hold on when they hit a wall as we come to the end of our journey today, what might Queen Deborah say to them to help them hold on and keep moving forward?
My advice to anyone would be take this thing one day at a time. And if you don't do anything else in this life, learn to trust in life. Learn to trust the journey because that's what's gonna take you through that trust and that belief.
Well,
Yeah.
amen to that. And everyone, as we say amen, we're going to say amen to you as you subscribe to this channel, Gospel of Robert, capital GOSPELOF, capital ROBERT, no spaces, might have to put the @ sign in front of it. But For today's segment of the journey, Deborah and I both pray, wish, hope, and demand from the universe that you journey well from here. Take care.
Peace and blessings.